Welcome back to Stuck in the Nail, the only podcast on the internet talking about Star Citizen from the viewpoint of a grunt. Ground gameplay is the name of the game here. Of course, we talk about all things Star Citizen, but we just favor ground gameplay as individuals. And we just so happen to make a concord of spacefarers that also feel the same way. Ain't that right, Weasel?
That is correct, sir.
Is correct. Right. So with me, I have Angry Weasel. Of course, I am Daft Hobbit. And just ignore my name down in the bottom right there. But I'll probably overlay that. Actually, never mind. So anyway, yeah, we're here today. We're back, baby. First off, we're back, dude. What's up? It's been a minute.
Back. We
I feel
back.
like we had to take a hiatus. Let's talk about the hiatus for a second. So all these privateers from our group, anybody that's known us for a while, if you've tuned into the show ever, we usually are a lot more consistent. We had a lot of consistent content this last year, but we went so hard in the paint 2024. It was like January to like what? May, June, July even?
We were pretty active up until probably end of July.
Right. And we just gassed ourselves, man. Like we're gonna have some of our allies. We have Ravenbound, you know, we got OAC, we got the what are they called now? The Rhino? No, what are they called?
The 88th
88th. Yeah, they changed their name. I keep thinking their old name. Yeah,
CKD.
yeah, CKD was their name, but they changed the 88th Rhino Squadron. I guess they're more mechanized dudes. Shout out to all of those people. We're gonna have some of them on and talk the nuances of running an org and how difficult it is. So if you're wondering where we've been, where's our content, we haven't really gone anywhere, but the game just does not giveth. Not always. It was really good first year. We were for about 6 months. We did one op a month. We had a lot of planned events going on. We had a lot of energy, and we all just got tuckered out. And a lot of our staff and everything, we got life going on. A lot of our players dipped, and then the game was just really hard to play, right? Like before 4.0 preview, Weasel, how often were you playing? Like the last 6 months.
Um, the last months, I was trying to get on like probably like 3 times a week, roughly 3 hours play sessions. But yeah, it kept on getting more and more difficult, either from just kind of like lack of like content to actually do,
Mhm.
or the game just really making it like extremely difficult for a group to get into. And that's our bread and butter. We enjoy having the group on. We enjoy doing group activities and kind of like basically playing the game and making it into more like organized fun, if that makes sense.
No, it makes, yeah, 100%. There's a lot of people that play Star Citizen as individuals in small groups of three or four. We are not talking about that. Once you play Star Citizen with 20 plus players and you're doing coordinated, orchestrated stuff like we do, if you've seen that on our YouTube channel or played with us before, it's addictive, man. Once you experience Star Citizen at a large group play, I would say what large to us is anything over 10. I think for most players, anything over like five, six, seven is large. Most people play with one, two, three, four people. That's it. And yeah, once you experience that and you experience the orchestrated fun you can have within this sandbox MMO, it's addictive, dude. And it's really hard to play. As an org, it's really hard to keep momentum up with your players, with people coming in that are new, people that are leaving, people that got life stuff coming on. The game, it all depends on how the ebb and flow of the game. And so we found we put a lot of energy into it at the beginning of the year, had a lot of great videos. One of our videos, a gameplay video of just straight, raw, organized chaos for 40 minutes straight, just got, it has over 6,000 views, which, people are like, well, Star Citizen videos, some people have 60, 70,000 plus. Those are usually informational videos, right? They're talking about updates in the verse. They're talking about a ship. They're talking about something specific. It's highly edited and scripted. Great videos like Morphologist video, Space Tomato, Board Gamer, Super Mac Bro, like all those guys, they make excellent content, but people know what they're getting and they go there. They're staples of the info. So to get a video that's just straight chaotic gameplay with our stupid LARPing radio chatter that is fun and it serves a purpose. To get 6,000 views on that was pretty awesome. And the watch time on it is pretty great. So there's lot of potential. A lot of people are looking for massive gameplay. And once you've tasted it, it's hard to go back to play by yourself. Of course, we still do when the homies aren't on. You know, I do bounties and stuff by myself. And then we have this trickle effect, is what I call it, where people, privateers, start getting on every evening, and we'll go from one to two to three, and then we'll have 6-man teams, and then we'll have multiple fighter escorts and a drop ship, and then we're up to 12. Though that scalability of play is so fun, and it's just so hard to do lately, the last 6, 7 months. Here it is, the 20th of January 2025. I'm talking about the last 6 months into 2024 as well, back in August. It's so hard to play lately. So we have been in a massive hiatus. We came out really strong in 2024. And then half the year we just shut off because the energy, master modes, I think, killed a lot of my desire to fly. I know some people enjoy master modes. They like to fly more. Um, from my opinion, as a transport pilot, I feel like my wings got clipped and I'm just a sitting duck no matter what. No matter how well I can fly, I'm just going to get outgunned and blown up. But it is fun I know you were actually expressing that, right? Talking about what we'll touch on master modes a little bit. Like, yay, nay, master modes, good, bad.
I say yay for its partial implementation. It still has a few things that are missing that would make it a full yay for me.
Right. Yeah, and I like a lot of it. What do you think about the new heads-up displays?
Oh, they're awesome.
They're great.
Yeah. They finally made the MFDs something that is simple and like actually usable when you have, a 360-degree, vector to watch at all times. Plus, you're trying to like fuck around in your cockpit, and you're trying to get your shields back up, and you're trying to maneuver, and you're trying to like do whatever else you're trying to do, and then also listening to like everyone in the back go, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck.
Yeah.
They took everything that was on those MFDs and made it kind of took it from like a Linux or whatever, like the hard, like when you have a computer programmer, that's their fucking command module, and they have it super detailed, super, it's got all these different options and everything, versus like okay, now you can just take it and it's a Windows 11 pop-up. I know
Yeah.
exactly where I'm going. I know exactly what this button does. It looks right. It feels right. I think it's great.
It feels like a polished operating system within your ship.
Yes.
Well said. Well said. So I think the heads up display is huge, huge improvement, especially the advanced HUD. What's funny though is I'm used to it. Everybody's used to it now. CIG will hit when they hit the mark, they hit it, but then there's always one crack in the armor every time.
Yeah.
So the a huge oversight on the new HUDs is that there's not a really reliably easy to see altimeter. It's so frustrating. It's like everything is there except for like one or two things. I'm probably thinking of something else that I haven't. I'm forgetting. But yeah, for group play, and especially for transport pilots or anything, if you have a huge cargo haul, you're coming down to land planet side. They've made some like flight path stuff for these bigger ships that appear on your HUD, which is awesome. But still, it's really hard to see your altimeter. So that's the one critique I have on the HUD. Is like it's kind of hard to see some things, and there's some information that is more pertinent for flying than other, and the emphasis is different, and that might change actually. Maybe I'm coming at it from like I fly a transport ship. I don't call them drop ships. We've been over that on this podcast. There are no drop ships in Star Citizen according to my definition, so
They're only ships.
we can boo-hoo it. But if I'm transporting troops to a ground, there's some things that are priority, right? Altitude, one of them, if I'm coming in hot. So I wish that would change. But as far as the HUD comes and like how simple it can be versus how, you can scale that up, I love that. Giving the player actual choice and customization is always going to be better. Master modes is really rough right now, man. I don't think we have choice. I think it's taken away, especially in that mode. But it's the first implementation. they just got to be better at like getting this out faster. Something that impactful.
Yeah.
If you look at, I don't, I should probably have the numbers. I probably shouldn't even quote that, but there are some people on the internet that have noticed. Avenger One, I think, brings this up. Their their numbers when Master Modes launched of concurrent players was so high, everybody wanted to try it out, and then it tanked off. It dove faster. Like the numbers of concurrent players just crashed. So that's when it started declining for me last year. And again, this is relevant to our hiatus.
Yes.
Master was a big kick in the shins for me and my processes for getting guys to the ground. So we used to be able to be outnumbered in the sky and still aggressively insert our privateers, our BP guys, because we like to be grunts. We like to get in the ground, fight. We think that's like really the only points of interest worth holding or worth having some hitters, some shooters down there, right? So that was our method. And then we really got our wings clipped. And then on top of that, the game's playability has just been rough.
So yeah, so we went from for those of you that don't know, we specialize in combined arms, mainly on a ground component and a fast attack or a QRF, if you want to call it, direct action force or whatever. Vanguard of the Sphere, like going in there, fucking dropping two squads, getting in there, take the objective, and hopefully the rest of our team can kind of get in there and support us as we kind of wreak havoc. One of the biggest things with what Daft is saying is that when we came in for before prior to master modes, it was very easy for us to basically take a certain angle, get a ship in there before they saw us come up on radar, or they got they were realizing what was happening. We were basically already on the ground and we were getting our ship up and out of there, which gave us kind of what we wanted in that gameplay. Is our pilot was able to get in and out of an area, a hot area or a hot DZ, get troops on the ground, and then bounce out of there and either be back to resupply for more or have the option for us to extract later. Right now, with master modes going into it, if you're going in there without shields and how weak stuff is because they don't have armor yet, they don't have the quantum sprint or the quantum boost or whatever that they're talking about. Without those two systems in, you're a glass cannon coming in, and if anyone picks you up within 5-6 seconds, you're gone. It's probably even less than that in a lot of cases. And yeah, it kind of sucks. It definitely stripped us of our more aerosol and direct action role. We found different ways to do it, but yeah, that's a big kick in the nuts for a team like ours.
Yeah, it is. And to expound on that too, right? So Star Citizen is a video game, right? In real life, if a superior force was holding an area, like the best and most assured like way we could get into that objective is to patrol on foot in through that undetected. But I don't have 2 hours to stage and get there and walk for another 2 hours, right? Just landing like that's how what's the range on ship detection? 20-30 clicks.
Yeah, I mean
I,
it's pretty rough right now.
and we timed it like I can't remember. Do you remember what your time was when you were a fully kitted ground guy in heavy armor running
20. Oh, dude, it's 30-40 minutes tops. I mean, like,
per click or
yeah,
what?
no. Per click, you're probably running 5-6 minutes per click. But that's like you in an all-out sprint over flat terrain. If you got any kind of terrain between you, like, yeah, dude, good luck.
Yeah, and then
This is also before we had a HUD compass as well. So like, good
yes,
luck.
yeah, this is yeah, and then yeah, there's still you have to know the bearing. Like
Yeah.
anyway, it's land navigation is hard, and so I hear players like that all the time. They're like, well, I had some other orgs. I was talking about this. I was bitching. I'm like, yeah, they clipped our wings. I can't get troops there fast in time. They're like, well, why don't you just meet them one for one in the air and then win the air battle and then get your guys in the ground? I'm like, that's cool. That's excellent. But, we have players that don't have a lot of spaceships. They don't have a lot of time in ships. And we need to be better at that.
It's
But
not only that, dude. And sorry to interrupt you there, but like it is okay. I think everyone the ones that usually say that are the ones that want every battle to go the exact same way. And that's fleet comes in, fleet engages other fleet, fleet wins over other fleet. Now we deploy ground troops defeat ground troops, and we take the day, we win. That's not how people that's not how people think, and that's not how battles are usually won. That's not how firefights are won. You have to take an advantage, and usually that advantage is by hitting multiple different fronts at the same exact time, which
But
is
that's
where like we came into is it was, hey, we got a group, say Ravenbound, great in the air, they can take an air air superiority roll any day of the week. So they get in there, they're causing wreaking havoc in the air. That makes it to where the enemy fighters are looking after them. We slip in with the Terrapin or whatever we got going on that day and basically insert on top of their objective. It's the exact same thing as like World War II tactics where, or even nowadays, you take an airborne asset, and as the battle kicks off, the enemy's like, fuck, we got a bunch of planes in the air. They're coming from everywhere. We got tanks on the horizon. And then all of a sudden C-130 rolls through, and now there's 3,000 troops in your face behind your lines and attacking you from different
yeah,
angles as well.
paratrooper.
It's a shock factor, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Shock trooper, right?
Yes.
That's what we bring to the table, and that's what we specialize in. So when people are like, "Well, why don't you just one for one?" I'm like, CIG wants that. They want us to be in World War II style bombers, right? And they want to fight that. That's Chris Roberts. I think that's going to be a lot of the campaign in Squadron 42. I'm actually fine with that. I think that's cool. I just think Master Mode's really clipped our wing for any sort of rapid response tactic that we could have used. Yeah, we're not obsolete. Like even if like Ravenbound, let's say our coverage, whoever that is, we'll say Ravenbound for this. If they're fighting an enemy 1-to-1 over a battle space, and then we come in with our method, yeah, we have a better chance. But it's still Master Modes is it's too slow. I have these huge engines on a Cutlass Black. I think I haven't tested it lately, but in the old flight model, a Cutlass Black could achieve 14 Gs going straight up in VTOL. So that's your insertion and X, right? That's
Yep.
a lot of people fly the Cutlass Black completely wrong. At me, let's talk. I'll show you how to fly a Cutlass Black. If you're in the state of mind of putting troops on the ground fast, VTOL engines are the best way to go.
100%.
So that's that's our method, right? Is we're a shock troop value. So we come in hot in EVA or planet side. We can get troops on the ground or troops on the objective super fast. You do one flyby an SBK, and we can get 12 guys there, right? Like and highly coordinated, highly practiced. A lot of other groups do similar things. I think our response time in doing this rapidly after another, like the Ravenbound guys actually we have video of this with them, but we just did follow on mission after follow on mission. Within an hour, we had like 10 missions done. We deployed out the back of a retaliator, like just so fast. I think you were there too, Weasel, for that.
No, I wasn't there for those ones. But like and the same thing too is like in these combined arm matches, like it's great if you're only taking 1 point, but we're like and that would make sense for like a game like I don't know, any of the other numerous combined arm games that you can think of, Battlefield, Call of Duty, not really Call of Duty, but you know what I'm getting at. And then like what's the
The
big one, the
squad,
big
really
Squad
squad.
is a good one. Hell Let Loose. What's the other fucking I'm trying to think of the game. It's a space game. It's got like thousands of players
Oh,
online to go
planet
from
side,
yeah, that one.
planet side too.
Yep.
Yeah,
So Planet Side, same thing. But the difference is that those places all have contested points. So like you have specific points that you're going for that where, and you've understood the map, you've already memorized the map, yada yada yada. Star Citizen kind of like takes everything away from that side because of how big it is and how detailed the ground scenarios are. And it makes it to where like a place like Jumptown, they did a really good job with Jumptown making it into a more defendable spot. But then also they've made it to where it is randomized. Like when it kicks off, like, hey, now it's on Microtech, now it's on Yella, now it's on Hurston, yada yada yada. When that happens, though, organized groups don't just go there and send 20 dudes and just sit on Jumptown inside the facility or outside the facility and just sit there. They bring ballistas, they bring air, they bring centurions, like all these different assets. And when that happens, like groups like us are usually the go-tos for that, because we basically insert on top of the anti-air or near the anti-air and then attack that, take it out, move into these areas. When master modes are stripped, it's like, I mean, you're a glass cannon, you are a glass coffin more or less, because like as you come in, if you throw up your shields, you just increase your like readability from like I think 15k up to like 30k. Dude,
Yeah.
if you can't kill me with from 30k out with a ballista, all your aircraft and whatever kind of ground assets, rail guns that you have, like, I mean, there's a
Yeah.
player issue there. But what usually happens is we get spotted and then we're absolutely screwed.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I mean, like,
It's so slow now that it's the only place that makes sense to be is in an interceptor style fighter,
yes,
right? That's the meta. Go watch Avenger 1 stuff on that. But like he talks about it from a pilot to pilot kind of standpoint more. But I'd like to add to that as a ground. Like when we're talking combined arms, like Weasel's talking, like when you have these orgs like that do this, we are dedicated to air and ground. We like specialties in both, but we favor a very rapid response shock trooper approach. So getting guys on the ground is extremely effective when it happens.
yes,
Not clunky logistically. Like it's easier to load 6 guys that are ready to go into a dropship than it is to load an A2 full of Nova tanks and everything that you would need for all the ground stuff. There's so many logistical problems that need to be overcome. And then you get there and your wings are clipped. It's not even viable anymore.
right,
So,
yeah, and
but
that's
we're
our goal. Is we're basically getting in there with an organized fire team or two and getting behind the enemy lines and breaking their shit so that
yeah.
the rest of our guys can get in there.
And even before master modes, right? Like I developed a skill and a method that I could get guys on the ground and I could reliably escape, even if I was the only craft in the air. And we have video evidence of this.
Yeah,
That
several
same
times.
operation that got 6,000 views, we can dive in on an objective and get guys on the ground, and our pilot can escape with, in the old flight model. And that's not like, oh, you're gamifying. It's like legitimately a skill and a tactic that we developed. And if the players know it's coming, they can do something to defend it, but it gives us an option. And that option is gone. So now there are no options for getting troops on the ground. If a jump town, unless you want to spend 2 hours getting there,
Yeah.
if jump town is occupied, so be it.
So and so this is a good point as well. So like why that matters. So like this the so what of all of this, right? Is the game that we're all paying into, that we're all like supporting, we're investing in and everything, has systems that haven't come online yet. But with the current way that it's being built, those systems that are, you know, coming down the pipeline are just going to get like more and more difficult and make the game focus more and more into that World War II style, like, well, win the air battle and you can get in there. It's like you're not in World War II. We have a lot of technological assets that should be added, like simplistic shit that's already here.
I did.
Um, and then say like Death of a Spaceman gets added. It already sucks right now. You kind of feel the punch in the nuts, like when you die in Star System right now. You lose all your shit. It's gone. And it's right there available. Like you might be able to go find your body, but so can everybody else. Um, so you're going to lose your gear. You're going to lose this. You're going to lose that. So like having that and then like making it even worse with like Death of a Spaceman, DNA degradation, stuff like that. Like if this stuff doesn't get honed in now, it's not going to get any better when that shit comes online. And that's just, and again, where Avenger 1's coming from with the player base going, oh, master modes, it's going to fix everything. And then like, what the fuck is this? And it just tanks. Same thing with 4.0. Oh, pyro, pyro, pyro. Oh, hey man, there's nothing really here. Like where is it? Where's the reputation system? Did the game change at all? Or did I just get another sandbox to play in?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, there's a lot of good things happening right now. We're going to
Yes.
transition into that. But also the we're going to talk today mainly about group incentives. So, we wanted to talk about our hiatus and like why we took a break. And largely it's because of master modes, at least me personally. And if I'm one of three transport pilots in our group, and
Yep.
I'm not interested in flying transport anymore. That's going to hamper gameplay as well, just as a group. But then on top of that, the game was just almost unplayable at times,
Yes.
and then lacking. So now we see a big spike 4.0. I think over the holiday, all of us were online together, just getting our groove back,
Yep.
and we had some fun. There's a lot of good things going on too. So we're going to mainly talk about group incentive today. And why that's important, because we've talked about these huge combined arm groups. So there's a lot of orgs and org battle going on, and like coordinated organic gameplay just going around in the verse and doing stuff too. That's kind of our bread and butter. But that's important, and these things relate to it. So let's talk about the good though. 4.0 preview. What were you talking? You said you were talking about FPS, and like if you don't know, Weasel's an excellent FPS player. He's one of our main like ground team leader guys. If there's a weird ass objective, like on an oil rig, for example, we can
Yeah.
Weasel, that's all yours, dude. And he usually gets the billet and makes some killers. So tell us about FPS. You were talking about that.
All right. So 4.0 preview comes out, even with 3.24. We got a couple devs that we speak to every once in a while and everything, but like for from what I'm seeing, FPS right now feels the best that it has since I've started playing back in 2018. And what I mean by that is that jumping into an arena match a couple minutes ago, just to kind of get wet my whistle, get the itch going. Um, Jumped in there and it felt the inertia kind of like of when I moved the weapon back and forth, moving from a fixed position to a 90-degree angle to a 100-degree angle. You didn't feel like your gun was just kind of like planted and just going and moving exactly as you move the mouse. There was a kind of a visible like I'm moving and my arms might go this way, but my head is still rotating, or my head might go here and then my weapon is rotating over. A lot of games get that wrong, and it leads to this really arcadey bullshit that like it doesn't feel right, because you don't want to be running up on somebody, get it clear, like you hear them moving around the hallway, you get a good flank on them, and then as you pop around, you're like, he's got his back to me, you start laying into him, and all of a sudden like that, he's flipped around, he's on you, flicking to your face, and it's like 180 no scope flick.
Kind of like
Well,
CSGO.
yeah, that fucking sucks. No, like the gameplay in Star Citizen and the people that play Star Citizen, I don't think want that. They don't want, skidding down the hallway on your knees, sliding 20 feet and then popping up and being able to like maintain a full auto burst, in somebody's face. Like that's not realistic. That sucks. Most Star Citizen players aren't going for that arcadey bullshit. But with all that, the gameplay felt smooth. It felt great. It felt like you're actually moving through the map. The audio is getting a lot more crisp to where you can actually hear people. And when you hear them, it's not like, I don't know if that's upstairs, downstairs. I know that's on metal. So I think if my map knowledge tells me that's off to my right, and it like when it is upstairs, you're like, here it's popping upstairs. I hear that. It's very clear. It's very crisp. And all that stuff is happening with like the server meshing coming online and everything like that. You can even hear that when you're in the verse, when we were playing somewhere in Pyro. We were working for headhunters and like went onto a derelict outpost. While we were there, aircraft came in. You like usually you don't hear an aircraft until it does a sonic boom over top of you, and you're like, oh hey, there's somebody else here. Dude, we were hearing stuff when they were coming out of Atmo, and then like as they're coming in, you could see exactly where they were, or hear where they were over a hillside because of the audio propagation and stuff like that. Um, that's never really been a crisp thing in Star Citizen, or at least a reliable thing in Star Citizen until, in my feeling right now. Um, Getting
Agreed.
further on that too is like going down to a derelict outpost, and the AI actually like if you say you're using a suppressor, they're kind of dumb. Like they're in little groups and you use a suppressor, you take out 3 of them, and like the other ones they're standing 15 feet away. You're like, huh, our buddies are taking a nap now. But say you walk in there with a compensator or an unsuppressed weapon and you start firing, those AI lock onto that sound signature,
Yeah.
and then immediately you see the little groups just split apart and start moving for a flank and everything and progressing on that last known location or that last trigger point. That's amazing to see, and especially when you have these outposts that have 20, 30 people on there. Dude, there's a lot of dead ships down there and a lot of soft death ships down there that indicate, there's a lot of people that have tried that mission and they just got obliterated. And I think that's where some of the player bases started to pull back a little bit as well, because you find a lot of little diaper players just laying around in little crevices where you can see like the little last stand where they back themselves in the corner, like, no, what is AI doing?
Oh
Um,
yeah, it's brutal.
yeah, it's
And
great
that's
though.
what we wanted the whole time. So as far as like, I agree with you with the FPS gameplay feels really good. Right now, I still have a lot of gripes. I'd love to have Zach Priest on here. I know we're abrasive sometimes, Zach, but we love you. We love we love the game and we hate the game at the same time because we've just been around for so long. You guys have a really unique development issue where you're so transparent that it's almost backfires. But I still don't agree with Scope Glint. I'll die on that hill. I don't understand anything about laser tech. Like I'm like, what is the difference of energy between a gallon and a lumen? Why do I need two separate batteries for that? Why can't I have one? What's the difference between a laser bolt from a gallon and a lumen? Like that stuff needs to be we need more definition, right? Especially with the spaceman stuff you were talking about.
Yeah.
If we just start implementing these things that are going to make it harder for no reason, like the cargo refractor, like I think that just makes more steps. Like, if I did some cargo missions just for the hell of it, which is way out of character for me because I like just the combat portions of things. But I tried cargo missions and I did too, and I was like, fuck this. Like I
See,
have to I have to transport 50 pieces of cargo and the game delivers them to me in one SCU boxes. I'm like, is there can I choose 16 SCU? Like, can I get there? Could I just pick that out and get my own stack of cargo? But it gave me literally onesies. And I was like, the game bugged out. I crashed the desktop multiple times because trying to load like half the cargo boxes don't work because they bug out. Like, so my point is, if we're making things just for the sake of it without any foresight into the future, there's no quality of life for that. I'm like, I'm not playing that. I'm not doing that.
I feel like those ones need to be the simplest way to like fix that issue, because I did the exact same thing. I have a different take on the cargo missions. Like, I don't know what it was. I think my autism, like the stimming kind of kicked in or whatever, and I was like, "Oh, dude, this is kind of fun," but for different reasons too. The 50 or like the missions where you go from the orbital space station down to a point on the planet, and it's like you're right, like 15, 16 different one SU boxes. Like, hey man, can I just like buy myself, like as a cargo pilot, can I buy a 32 and open it? Like, just can you just make a little interaction where the box like beep, or like two doors pop open and I can just load those ones on there? So I'm not fucking doing that. From here's a cargo elevator. Let me walk with my little beam of, of grab tech or whatever to walk it over. Oh, cool. It's locked to the grid. All right, let's walk back over to the thing. Like, dude,
Yeah, if
come
it's
on.
just like, or what you could do as well. This is for the devs to play with. I don't know how this would work, but if there was some sort of option with the tractor beam to select how many one SCU boxes you could pick up at a time to its like weight limit, right? If I can highlight them and take them in fours instead of ones or twos, pairs,
Something.
triple, threes,
Something.
like give us those one. But like, can the boxes have attach points? Like, could we attach them if they can magnet to a grid? Like, how can they magnet to each other?
No, they can only do that if they're on a magnet grid.
Yeah, it's like, dude, if I was a shipper in real life and this was the system, I'd be like, all of my boxes could magnet to each other, so I could get a 32 SCU box for like the MISC haulers, right? Or I could just make 32 one by ones attached to each other because they all have attach points, right? Almost like
It's the
face.
exact same weight as it was if I picked up the 32 SU one. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like it takes up the same volume, but like could you do that? Maybe it's not the tractor beam, maybe it's the tractor rifle or the Atlas that could do that. Then you're like, okay, now I have a reason to get those pieces of gear. So when I have 51 SCU boxes, I could make that my life easier. But if
Yeah,
you're
dude.
a tractor guy, like that's gonna suck.
It's the same thing with like if you go to a shipping yard, you go to any port, you'll see a big container ship. They are not loading box by box by box by box of little Amazon packages into onto the ship, right? They're loading it in large shipping containers.
It's been condensed. It's
Yes,
been yeah.
yes. And just take that single step. I know you already have the big containers. Just take the next step and make it to where I can buy empty ones and open them. One, two things, dude. Man, that adds like storage. That adds like my in my own personal hangar. I can like have like different containers and like build up my armory or whatever, or stash my cargo that I've gotten from blowing up pirates, at whatever post or whatever. But then like say like you and I are doing our Vanguard shit or our fucking quick attack. When we go in there and we hit something, maybe we drop a 32 crate SCU out the back and it has all of our gear. It has all that stuff making us quicker. So we can do those like 2 hour, patrols in or whatever.
Imagine all it has to be, excuse me. Excuse
Stop
me.
dying. No,
Yeah.
no dying on camera.
All it has to be is like a wireframe too. Like imagine an 8 SCU box, but it's just like a scaffolding almost that you
Yep.
just attach. So like also imagine that too. What if I could attach torpedoes to that? What if I could attach weapon
Something.
components? Right? So now instead of me grabbing each weapon component and setting it in and hoping it attaches to a cargo grid, which it doesn't usually, unless it's like the cargo elevator.
Oh no, it does, but it always attaches in some weird way that like if you try to pick it up later, it completely
Yeah.
bugs it. And you're like, what the fuck is this?
But like you can't stack like if you had 4 like Omniski size 5 cannons, right? Or whatever. You have some big weapons from a ship that you found in the verse. Like what if you had racks to put that on and it was like a 4 or 6 or 8 SCU thing. So now you can stack 10 different size 5 weapons together in a space efficient way. Same thing with 1 SCU boxes, 2 SCU boxes. It's just a framework for us to attach stuff too, and then we can move that whole object in. That would be that's what I hope they do.
Yes,
Uh,
same.
and I brought that up just as a point of like because of cargo refactor, the game is not fun. Like go listen to Salty Mike on that. I forgot to shout him out as a content creator, but he does he has a lot of good takes that I agree with because he's avidly for this game to succeed, but he's not pulling his punches anymore. If something's stupid, he's like, that's fucking stupid. And that's how we need to be, right? And so when we say, hey, that's fucking stupid that you put scope glint in, from a ground perspective, we only focus on this gameplay. We have the right to play the game however we like. I want to say that. I want the weapons to make sense. I want gameplay to make sense. Because this, then this, right? Not because video game, that's why.
Point
Right.
this out too. Like again, we'll stay away from the scope blend as much as we possibly can because I know we've gone down that road like 1,000 times on this podcast in the last like 4 episodes. But so optic link got added, I think 3 or 4 patches ago. I don't think I've seen a single sniper since then. Like
Nope.
I don't except for
I've
like
seen
NPCs.
NPCs, yep.
Yeah.
I've seen friendlies glints, obviously.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen a single hostile player sniper since
Yeah,
that got implemented.
it's not like it was way less important than we made it out to be. So
Yeah,
apologies,
100%, 100%.
apologies, ground gameplay FPS guys, apologies. But like, yeah, it's kind of like, oh well, that sucks. But some other good things we're seeing, right? Server stability, server error recovers have been amazing.
Fucking amazing.
Um,
That is one of the best mechanics that they've made.
they've been they've been deteriorating as of late. I think it's because they're going to push that other patch, but that's common in the patch cycles. So that's been great. Also desync in the server frame rates is just there's less desync. I know where my teammates are, and the player PvP that we've encountered in the contested zones and other asteroids and pyro, it's been really fun and really even. I don't feel like I got the drop on somebody. Sometimes, I would shoot another player at like SPK, and I kind of was like, oh, that was I think the game gave me an advantage there. Like something was going on that guy's client side or something where he didn't really have time to react to me. And so I go, I don't know if that was a straight up good fight, but
Yeah, I will
I
say that
I
they still
try.
got to make sense for like those kind of calls and everything. They still got to make sense to the whole like LMG bullet doesn't hit as hard as an SMG bullet. Yeah, I'm gonna die on that hill.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
my topic. But
same
yeah,
thing. Yeah, we don't know anything about energy weapons. They're just weapons skinned as energy weapons. They don't do anything. Um, and yeah. An LMG firing a high caliber should not should hit harder than an SMG shooting a pistol caliber. So
yeah. I was
I'll
just in
die.
yeah, Arena Commander like 30 minutes ago, right before we started this, and the first two weapons we had were F-55 and FS9. And F-55 again. I'm looking from what I understand of that round. It's at least a 7.62 or higher, and it's basically a shoulder mounted chain gun, or a shoulder supported chain gun. So like it should be like ripping people to shreds, like
It's
pink missing them on the
devastating.
wall. And you are just like, blah, and laying into them. They're just getting hits, hit marker, hit marker, hit marker, hit marker. And then finally they go down. It's like, okay, that's a little
Basically,
excessive.
a chain gun, BB gun is what
Yes.
it feels like. But
Yes.
of
And if that's the
course,
case, cool. Like make that caliber, make that switch, and let me know that. And that's fine. FS9, same thing though. Firing either it's like the equivalent of assault. It's either firing a 5.56 or a 7.62. Same thing. It's like you can feel the kick off of it. So it's like it's kicking you back. It's going all over the fucking place. But if I'm hitting you, like, why is it taking 20, 30 rounds for you to go down before, like as I'm just spraying the upper part of your torso and your face?
exactly. So the ballistics don't make any sense. The usage of weapons still don't make any sense. However, we are seeing playability there excellent, right? Desync is better, and the server stability is making the NPC, like the AI, actually fight you for the first time in Star Citizen history in fucking 12, 14 years. I don't know.
It it's fucking amazing. We were doing one like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. It was all of us in a contested zone. Walked in there, we got guys covering the rear, we got guys covering front, making sure all of our angles are covered. And the C NBCs, once they, maybe they caught sight of you, maybe they didn't, but the second that first round leaves and they realize they're under fire, for them to split and immediately take cover. They're firing up over barriers, they're actively trying to flank you and stuff, and
It's
then
so
they're also remaining like in cover. They're not just like stupidly just like standing up and be like, oh, where did the firefight go? They're actually difficult to get to, and sometimes they're hiding, and then like you come in, you didn't clear a corner, you didn't clear some dead space, and all of a sudden you're like, oh shit.
yeah. And then on top of that, you have the player threat in the contested zone. It's a lot of fun right
It
now.
is. It is.
It's potential for what it could be. We're still not out of the woods, but that's the things that we've been seeing good. Now, 4.0, the main topic we want to talk about group incentive because we've been seeing a lot of good things. But again, CIG, whatever they land, there's something big, blaringly obvious that is not landing. So 4.0 preview drops, and everybody in the party was getting full rep and full mission payouts of the mercenary work. And we were like, they finally get it. Wow. Now we're incentivized to play as a group. In the past, every time we did a bunker, right? Even if I have to share that mission with one friend, because like we're definitely not the standard. Like we will roll into a bunker with six guys in a six-man fire team. That's how we train. That's how we win most PvP engagements. That's how we play against other orgs. So we do that in the verse and PvE to get the reps, to get just to have a good time. That's how we like to play.
Hey
So
man, Army brings the meats, we bring the bullets.
yeah. Yeah. Arby's got the meats, we got the bullets. So anyway, that's awesome. They so splitting a bunker mission, it's like pays 40 grand, let's say 40K AUEC.
Yeah.
Splitting that six ways is shitty. It's not how we make money. It's stupid. And the rep gets split six ways either. What the fuck is that? Why am I now, if I'm trying to level up my progression, I am now incentivized to not play with my group. And we
Yes.
do. Like if I'm playing by myself, that's when I go grind the reps so I can get missions for the boys to do. Like I'm like, what if it just all worked? Why am I
Ah,
incentivized to not play with my friend? It's so stupid. So I always hated that. We never talked about that. We always had other stuff to gripe on, but that's the dumbest thing ever. So when they do this mission refactor, or when they launch 4.0 rather, I thought, hey, they fixed it. Turns out that was a mistake and it's a bug. And so they're doing the mission refactor now. And now we're going to go back to splitting costs and splitting the reward and splitting the rep is from what I understand it. So if you're in the chat right now, if you're watching this, correct me if I'm wrong, if things have changed, because we got lives and businesses and stuff we got to run. So I might be a couple days behind any news on that. So the problem is though, now what they did, I was like, oh man, I thought they fixed it. So we were getting full payout and full rep. But then one of us maybe had played a little longer the next day while we all went to work or had time off or whatever. And then we get on again. And for example, Angry Weasel had bumped up to another level with the headhunters, right? His rep has increased. So now he's at junior contractor and we're all like at the lower level, apprentice or whatever, applicant. And now he tries to share a mission from his rep and we can't get it now. We're not eligible.
Yeah.
But right when I think, oh, they fixed the payouts, we're all incentivized to play together. We're going to make money. It's going to be lucrative. We're going to get rep together. That's going to be great. Then they put these fucking gaps in between reps. So now Angry, even though he's rep to contractor, if he wants to play with us, everyone, a whole group, we all have to be on the same rep level in order to do the same mission and share the mission and get the markers for the mission, get the information pertaining to the mission, and then get a payout for it.
Yeah. Or you have to take the lowest level contract there is in order to get it, which means it pays out less. It doesn't offer as much rep as from what I understand.
Yeah.
And
so
you're just taking like 5 steps back.
Yeah. So if you're repped up, you're on a higher rep level than me and the rest of the boys. You have to like play with our rep levels, and that's okay. Like, that's not the worst end of it. The worst end of it is we can't play with you.
Yes.
And like, if you had the maximum amount of rep and you have these really complex, dangerous missions, you're going to want to bring friends anyway.
Yep.
Even if I'm a novice apprentice reputation with that guild or faction, I should be able to at least accept the mission. I don't need the full payout. That's when it makes sense. If I don't have the rep that you have, I should still be able to play and share your mission, but I just get a lot less rep and a lot less money from that because I don't hold the status.
Right. And
But
this
if
is
you
like
hold the status
this.
and you bring me,
Yeah, man. And so like that goes into like the issues, the main issues with that is like one, yeah, group incentives way low. If you can't, play with your buddies at the higher tier level, which is where you actually start needing those squads in order to like, get those missions done, or one or two other guys like, okay, well, if I can't do it with you because I got to get you up to my rep level, dude, that's incredibly tedious. Not to mention, you also rob the whole like shot caller gameplay or whatever. It's like, hey, if Daft is he's the leader of our org or whatever, or he's one of the main players or whatever, and he's running like reputation down this one reputation rabbit hole, and we want to go work for them, and it's because we're in that sector of space or whatever. He can't do that because we can't get those missions anyways. Only he can get them, which is kind of dumb.
yes.
So like either make it to where like you as a branded member get branded as an organization, gets reputation from them as you progress, and then that way all branded members can get that, or at least have access to them, or make it to where like you can, the second you get it, like that's your mission, right? You were given it by the contractor, you were given it by the shot caller, whatever, and then you can now set the payout and the rep gained for the people below you or that are coming along with you. I mean, that's how like that's kind of how contracts work right now, like in real life. Make that a thing here and make that make sense so that we can continue to play as a group in high, toward maybe like right now in-game material, and not be like, oh, well, hey man, we know you got life going on and everything, but unless you grind it out the last 30 hours of this rep, sorry.
That's a great analogy, dude. Like if let's say my company, I have worked a relationship with like a large corporation and we're going to partner up. I worked my way up. I got all the reputation to get the latest graphic cards for all my editors.
Yeah.
And you're an editor for me? Like you don't have any rep with that. Like let's say it's NVIDIA. You don't have any rep with NVIDIA, but I do. And you can benefit because you're part of my organization. So
Yes.
like, you don't need any reputation with NVIDIA to get that to benefit, right? Like me as an American soldier, as a Marine, like I didn't have any relationships with a military contractor that made our bullets. I don't, Colt was making the AR-15, making the M4 or M16s. I didn't know anybody at Colt, but I still benefited from using that, right? Because I was part of an organization that had the reputation that was needed. Like, so yeah, if what a lot of orgs were planning on doing, and I don't know if this is still going to be the case, but if Weasel goes and gets rep with a headhunters and I go get rep with like Crusader security, right? We all have like these little liaisons that could get the highest tier missions and then share them out to everybody.
Yep.
But now it's like, nope, sorry, sorry, Corporal, you don't get the M16 because you didn't put the work in with Colt. I
Right.
I benefit. I can have an so you have to use this fucking piece of shit rifle. Like, you know what I mean? You won't get the mission because you didn't have the rep. So what they've done is made it completely incentive like it's just an individual game now. We just happen
Yes.
to work together. It feels like I'm playing WoW. Like if because they level cap things, right? So if I start a character, you and I both start characters in World of Warcraft. We play for a month, so we leveling up together, and then you go overseas or you get restationed somewhere, and your time playing drastically drops, and I keep playing. Now I'm 10 levels higher than you. All the gear I have, you're not eligible for. You can't use anything. I can't help you out. I can give you old stuff maybe, but like, oh, we're gonna go do this raid. Oh, sorry, dude, you're not high enough level. Every time I've started a World of Warcraft character with friends, they have exponentially more time to play. And I play a lot, and then I have something happen and I can't play anymore, and they leave me in the dust and they keep playing.
I
So
roll this back to
that's
yeah, exact same scenario, but like and we're talking about like the ground gameplay and everything, and kind of what we do. We're again direct action, kind of get in there, fuck things up, go kill people, hit squads, kill squads, yeah, whatever. That's what we do. I'll roll it back to the same kind of reputation system and the way it is right now, but in the way that it works is crucial for like and maybe putting it more towards what we're saying where like that group or that org has like shared, and I know this is kind of where CIG wants to go, but that needs to be implemented like now, not when Death of a Spaceman comes out, not in 1.0, but like when you have these groups forming and when you have these people trying to make group gameplay work, that's when it needs to work now. Key example: if I go in a bunker mission in Stanton, okay, for Crusader security, I go down. Say I got hit or whatever. If unless you were in my group and I shared that contract with you, when you come in to try to help me on a medical contract, those the bunker will start shooting at you and the guards will start shooting at you because you're now trespassing,
yeah.
even though you're associated with my org, with my group, yada
You
yada
might even
yada.
have the same contractor rep with Crusader
Yes.
security.
So if that's the case, make that a thing to where all AI for Crusader security recognizes you as I don't know, a junior contractor or a contractor. And then they don't shoot at you. This whole trespassing thing where like, oh, you don't have the contract, so we're gonna blow you up, even though you're rated as a senior contractor with us, and you're in the same group as the guy that was just helping us. That we're
Yeah.
like
You
none of that
successfully,
makes sense.
yeah, these contractors successfully helped us kill all the bad guys at the bunker, and then he's incapacitated. What if there was just like a medical guy there that could help you pick you up?
Oh, you mean like the NPC? They could just walk over and be like, psst.
And just like, thanks for being a junior contractor. Thanks for the assist, bro. It's
Yeah.
like going to help, like, an adjacent unit. Like the army came and helped the Marines, and like all the army guys are just laying there dead, and the Marines are like, no, none of us are medics. We need the Navy corpsman here. Sorry, bro. You
Sorry,
know,
fucktard.
yeah, it's like that. So, yeah, that's a great idea, dude. Like if it was rep based, right? Imagine just going to that location just for the hell of it. Why? Because you've earned the rep. Like, imagine just asking permission. Like, you come into that AO, and what if someone was like, hey, this is Crusader Industry Space. Like, state your business or send your rep codes. Like,
Oh, you mean
send your
like
rep codes in.
the ATC that we all have to interact with every single
Yeah.
time we go to a landing zone?
Yeah, so like what if it was like to get into the airspace of these Crusader bunkers, it was like, hey, send your rep codes, otherwise we're gonna shoot you down. And so you have to like manually do that, with the button or whatever. So you send in your rep code and it's like a unique identifier. It's like, hey, you're a junior contractor. We appreciate your help, but you're not qualified for this location. Please leave now.
Dude, seriously, that would be a badass like way to make these missions a lot more interactive and a lot more like less grindy. And I don't know, to like get into the area and either have like an automatic identifier that was assigned to that mission, kind of like what it is right now for like the person is taking that mission. But like say I share it out, or maybe I didn't share it out, but I have that code. I should be able to send it like via Discord or via voice chat or via global chat to like the people that are around me.
Yeah.
Go, hey man, the code is 12345 X for that code for that bunker for that mission, you know. And then like when my medical dude comes in, or the med runner or whoever I've called at that point from across the the universe comes in. Oh, you don't want to talk about med runners anymore?
I'll talk. I'm just not going to say it. I'm sure they're
la,
not.
la, 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 la.
Well,
But like so like when they come in, it's like, hey man, here's the code for it and everything. And then like you said, once you fly within 10 kilometers of that spot, they're like, hey, Crusader controlled area, what's the code? Hold there, because obviously we all know that 2 to 4 kilometers is where those missiles and the like the turrets like to engage you from. Like hold there, you enter that code. Same thing as like the instance hangars or anything like that. All right, you're cleared to come in and land. Hey, look at that, dude. Problem fixed. You got rep code. You got interactability. You have multiple people playing together and communicating. Like,
you're
wow.
incentivized to now. What if there was also on that note, right? You get these medical beacons. What if there was a medical guild, a faction like Crusader Security? But what if there was like, medics of the verse or medics of Stanton, right? What do they call it? First responder guild.
What's the so yeah, just make it connected to the main hospitals that are at all the landing zones.
Oh
So
yeah,
like, yeah, hey
Keltec,
dude, yeah,
Keltec guild, right? Like,
there you go.
or is it Keltec?
No, Caltech's the general store or whatever. It's I think it's the Olympic principle or something like that. Is like Crusaders.
That's right. Yeah, and even if there was just one faction for all of Stanton, and it was like
Dude,
Kelto, that's what it is.
Kelto.
Keltec is a shotgun brand I'm looking at in real life. Kelto is where you can set your spawn. So what if it was something like that, right? Kelto RX, that's what it is. Preserving your DNA strands by hunting down and resuscitating your body, right? They could make a
Be
whole
badass, dude.
be badass. So then now the med runners have gameplay. I dog on the med runners. I think their org is dope. The idea of it. I just think they suck in execution. But that was a while ago. I could be wrong. So if you're med runners, at me, dog. Let's chat. But yeah. Anyway, it's cool if they want to sit around and wait for med beacons. More power to them. Let's give them some guild status, right? So they can get access to people dying.
Amen.
Like that would be amazing. Imagine having reputation to go where you want as a medic, and it's like, yeah, that would be fun. But yeah, having some sort of system like that, because then that would incentivize group play. Incentivizing group play. Group play. We've talked to people in our org, right? They've played Star Citizen for 6 years plus, 8 years, 10 years, whatever. People that see what we do with a group, they're like, how many times have we heard this from members that joined or people that just brushed up against us one time, thought it was awesome, and they're like, I don't have time to commit to an org. But like, I've been playing Star Citizen for 5 or 6 years, and I have never seen what you guys do.
Oh yeah, dude. We had the oil rig mission that you're talking about. Like when we came in, like they had anti-aircraft things set up on the island. They had a squad or two on the rig, and then they had guys roaming outside, sniper support, all that stuff. They had like, and then they had air support as well. They had never seen someone launch basically we had a terrapin. So we came in, and as everything else was popping off because we had coordinated efforts between our other allies as well. We had a ground T coming in over the water with grab bikes. But as they were on the rig, they're like, they're encountering our air support. They can't touch us. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, they look over and there's a terrapin like at the fucking rig, unleashing a squad of branded, and they're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And then I think we controlled the rig within 2 minutes.
Not
So
even
like, yeah. So like
that.
getting that stuff done, they're like, dude, what the fuck? Like, how does that happen? They were like, this is what we do.
Well, the mistake on that mission too is we've learned to, this is for group play. Incentivizing group play is a lot of that CIG can do a lot, but also within your own org, setting up, meet me at the flagpole at 3:30. Those are great. Org versus org stuff. really intensive. It's very hard to coordinate, but and the game is constantly fighting you to do that. But
Yes.
we made the mistake of making an objective a player. We were trying to see if we could incapacitate a specific player and take them hostage. And they just had to agree that they weren't going to backspace. And then we approached the situation with GLs on X. Yeah, we didn't even think about that. And so we dive in a terrapin, subvert their air defense, uh, completely bypass all their island defense, hit them right in the throat, and we dropped 6 guys right on top of the objective with very fast, and they were like, "Holy shit!" And we responded so violently. Our grenadiers, I think you had 2 GLs. You
Yeah.
guys reacted to contact so well. It's on clips. You can see hits from SMGs and rifles hitting the guy, and you see what thump, what thump, what thump, 3 grenades. That grenade blast, after talking to them, that blew the objective, which was a person, blew them off the oil rig, and they fell to their death and died. And so our objective was scrubbed. So we basically killed the VIP that we were trying not to take hostage.
Yep.
So it was really fun. But yeah, we approached that one wrong. But that that's it's really, really important. So master modes has clipped group play, in my opinion, or it's forced group play in ways that I don't think make sense. Like
Yeah.
I have to outnumber the enemy in the air now.
Yes.
And then also
It,
type of ship matters more now than ever. Multi-crew ships are actually horrible. If you
yeah.
get 2 or 3 pilots in interceptors, like they'll take down a hammerhead all day. Just go watch Avenger One talk about it. And there might be some improvements there too, but yeah, it's
A lot of those systems I think are that we're getting not even like the skeleton of it. We're getting like the femur. And it's like,
yeah,
can we get the rest of the skeleton and the muscles and the tendons to make this and maybe like the brain to make this work correctly?
yeah. Oh,
Um,
we're getting a rib cage, and they're like, "This is the femur." We're like, "No,
yeah, no,
that,
no, no, no. That houses some important things, but it doesn't have the other things to make it work correctly. Um,
and now
but
we're
like,
waiting for a rib cage to stand up on its own.
oh
They
god,
even have
yeah,
like feet and legs.
yeah,
That's a
and
great
like
point.
it's the same and the same, same exact stuff is that rep making it to where groups can play together. The multi-crew potential, it's there, dude. Like
It is.
you can see it. It is there. The resource management system would definitely make that more fun. And but like we don't have
Yes.
quantum boosting. We don't have the actual resource management. We don't have armor. So like all these things, it's like okay, well, like now we don't have shields really because when you get into combat, you might have shields, you might not, depending on if you got the jump on them or not, or if they got to jump on you. If it does go down, you're screwed. Um, yeah, there's just it's there, but like that you just they're missing the mark of just like come on, just power through, focus on one that thing, and just do it correctly, or
It's like
like
they're building
give
a
enough.
they're building a foundation, like laying bricks for a foundation, right? And every brick they're putting in is like 70% of a brick. It's not a full brick. And like they don't fit well together. So now we're putting this like shitty mosaic together rather than like a well laid foundation. It's like all uneven because, master modes creates more problems than it solves in my mind. And it's not, it needs to be adjusted. But they're like, all right, well, we already laid that brick, so let's just keep going. And so they're not leveling the foundation. They're just like trying to like, oh. So we still don't know how the fuck does your spawn work? Like how does that work? Is it the comm relays? Like how does Big Brother know where I'm at? How do I get a crime stat? What's the science? What's the lore behind that? What does a gallant do versus a lumen? Why is a lumen better than a 5.56 P4 shooting a 6.5? Like what are the armor values? We still do not know. There's no foundation that has stayed and persisted and has built off of nothing has been laid well. And so we're getting there. We're seeing the potential of this shit foundation, but like we need to like put a laser level out there and chop everything off so it's even. And then all the low points need to be brought up to the even surface. Like cargo refactor, like fucking chill that out. Like give us some options. Make us progress to it. If I have to use a tractor beam for my first missions, that's fine. I'm going to get the tractor beam that doesn't like that can pick up bigger amounts of one boxes, right? Let us scale into it, right? Let me get that combat armor that's going to make my life easier. Like these scorched and tweaked stuff, that's awesome. Now I have reasons to have a compensator, but now I can get layers of that compensator. I
Yes.
love that. We're getting there. We're so close, but it's like there's just something missing. We got this awesome new HUD, but I don't know my altitude. Like how that's like a brick that's like missing a huge chunk. It's like it's a good brick. It's a great foundational piece, but I'm like it's like one fucking thing is missing. And then it's like, oh, group play, let's incentivize that. But then they put all these like wedges between your rank now.
And
So
your actual group.
and
Like
your group.
the whole point of like being able to share a contract is kind of null and void if I can't fucking share a contract.
Yeah, if I can't share it. Right, like having some layers to that, or at least having us understand the mechanics so we can work around it. And it stays the same, right? And like, you know, multi-crew, like what the fuck is that? It's not viable. It's just it is, and then sometimes it's not, and then it is until one guy in a pajama suit freaking hammerheads your hammerhead, or sorry, rams your hammerhead with a Pisces.
Yeah,
And
and then you're fucked.
yeah, stupid. So
So it, like in the same thing too is, and like this, I'll try to hone this in so that like we either we move on or we cut it. But like it is, CIG has done such a good job over the past like three patches and like the last half of the year. Like when I did play, there were things that like I was like, damn, dude, this is a lot of fun. And I'll explain that real quick with two examples. One, your save stand missions. um, Big global event. It is, these new players coming in. It's kind of leading up to the 4.0 and Pyro getting launched and everything. They're attacking comm relays. They're attacking these distribution centers. They're attacking freighters and everything. You guys made a gameplay like video of like a hauler basically traveling and all of a sudden just getting just pillaged by like these guys that didn't really seem to want cargo. They were just killing the pirate or the hauler, right? So you get the contract to swoop in there, save him. Once you saved him, or once I like, here's what I did. I came in there with a Corsair and saved that one and went through multiple waves of fighters and everything, but I was able to come out on top, right? At the end of that, I was flying my stock Corsair, and I knew that I needed to upgrade it, and I knew I had soft death multiple of the ships that I just dealt with. So after that battle was over and the hauler had gotten out of there, I had this basically this little like fleet, debris field that I could just pillage. And you guys have made the salvaging gameplay to where I can take the weapons and the components off these things and upgrade my own shit. And that's exactly what I did. So like that stuff right there, like that is amazing, an amazing gameplay loop, right? Like you gave me everything I needed within a good payout, a reason to go over there, people to kind of like, two factions to work for, and then the ability to not even have to go to a store in order to buy stuff. I had a good payout, but I could also just
yeah,
scavenge things.
you could
That's
loot,
awesome. Yes, I could
loot
loot and I could loot the way I wanted to. That's fucking amazing. And
progression.
then my second example, like the cargo missions were hit on earlier. The cargo refractor, I like where it's going, but just like Dash saying, you gave me the rib cage. I need other things to make that work. Give me a fucking empty container to where I can use it. My thing is that it's kind of fun for me in the fact that like I can open up a ship, grab a contract from say New Babbage, right? I take the contract from New Babbage up to the orbital. And when I'm doing that, I can then look for new contracts from the orbital down back to Microtech somewhere. What I would do is I would do that, leaving from the space station, go up to the orbital, grab some gear, drop off the gear that I took up there, grab another contract that took me down to a distribution center. Distribution centers, you guys have made them into like little mini cities, and they have a lot of things going on to them. And you guys have said that,
Exactly.
yeah, exactly. And CitizenCon, you've shown that you want to expand on that. Do that
Yes.
because it allows you to go, okay, hey, I'm going to distribution C. Hey, mercenary contracts. What's at distribution C? I've got a gang taking over the outside center, and I've got another one inside. Cool. I'm gonna take both those contracts. I'm gonna go down there, land, and this is where the rep thing comes in. I know that if I complete my, one of those contracts early, or both of those contracts early, now the distribution center is going to start shooting at me because I no longer have the ability to be there. But if you just know that I'm a Microtech junior contractor, security, whatever, then let me be there. I have permission to be there. I have the authorization codes.
Let me have this
Ask me
thing.
every 15 minutes and I'll give it to you. But like,
What if it
I
was
would
like
go down there.
after applicant, right? You make
Uh-huh.
contract or junior contract, you get an ID code that you could use. Like I,
Dude, yeah, that would be fucking sick.
because then you could stack your missions. Because now what you got to do, if I'm gathering this correctly, just to break it down for the audience, you go down there with cargo that you're going to deliver,
Yeah.
and then you picked up two extra missions on the way to make the most of your time. But
Yes.
now you have to really know and understand how to do that in order. You got to get rid of your cargo first.
No, 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 no. So you have to do the mercenary contracts first. So you
Oh,
knock those out, and then you have plenty of time to drop off your cargo because the
oh,
cargo center still wants you there.
I
However, if I do that backwards and I go cargo first and then I finish those mercenary missions, now I've given a trespass timer,
yeah.
which means the second I get in my ship, for some reason, this might be a bug. Maybe I should throw up an initial council, but the second I got in my ship, they recognize that I am no longer in the same container. So now the things like you now have 30 seconds to leave.
So the
So
location is saying, "Hey, you were here for your cargo, and now you're not meant to be here, even though you still have a timer from another mission."
correct.
The other mission is telling the security. See,
Yeah.
this is what makes me
One
wonder.
reputation system.
Yeah,
Give me
if
the access code, like we're saying, and let me go. And it goes, hey, you're trespassing. Like, no, no, no. Here you go. Here's my access code for junior contractor Angry Weasel.
yeah,
Ah, okay, you're right. You do have the ability to be here. We just bumped it up. You have another 30 minutes. Be on your way in 30 minutes or complete your contract.
hmm yeah,
And then in 30 minutes, if they're like, hey, man, why are you still here? And I'm like, hey, I still have a junior contractor. I'm meant to be here. I've done this. Unless I start doing something illegal there and like killing Microtech employees, let me be there.
yeah. Just be there because you have the rep. Like,
Yes.
and then that's what's cool too is if you get what they can. If this is the foundational piece, right? I really wonder, and this is not a dig at CIG. This is not meant to be mad. I just wonder like how much you guys actually play your game. Because like I wonder if you asked a developer if they'd run into that. Right. Like, hey, I took a cargo mission here, so I was allowed to be here for that. And then I took two more missions that stacked on top of each other. And because I completed one, the game is now recognizing that I'm not meant to be there, even though I still have two missions.
But
It's like,
why? Like if you got a rep system saying that I'm a junior contractor, meaning I've gone through like 20 or 30 fucking missions for you, cleared multiple bunkers, I'm like this in the game, I'm like this mercenary that like Microtech's like, damn, dude, this is who we're gonna give all these contracts to. But then you recognize it's my identifier, like, and you're like, oh yeah, no, sorry, dude, you got like 15 seconds to get up, or we're gonna blow your shit up. Like,
yeah, or
what?
yeah, the game just like it's dumb, right? The mechanic of the game is not like considering that. It's just like, oh, this mission's complete. You have this much time to get out. Meanwhile, you're there completing other missions, but once one expires, it triggers the area, even though you have two more missions that could give you more time to be there. It's just triggering the turrets. So you go back to your ship, get in, and it starts hammering you. Boom. You're like, what?
Yeah.
That's happened to me as well.
This is a completely different topic, but this is something that baffles me, and I need someone to explain this to me at CIG because I've asked around, and I don't think anybody really knows at this point on Reddit or Spectrum or anything like that. When you get out of your ship and your ship is no longer identified as, oh hey, Angry Weasel's over there, or Cricket Skink, like what some of my ships are named, like that's a Cricket Skink over there. It now gives you a serialized like number, like XY dash 1234. Can we make that to where it's like, hey, that identifier it's AG-104. So now I know that's an Aegis Dynamics some ship down there, and it's
Yeah.
registered, and it is that kind of ship.
That's
If,
another thing too on the HUD. They're not
please.
information. Like I'm sitting there looking at my MFD trying to decipher if it's like an Aegis retaliator or like some other weird thing. So like that it's really hard to read what kind of ships it is.
Yeah, just
Also,
make it serialized, and that way it's just like I don't know,
the
Aegis
first
Dynamics
two,
AD.
yeah, the last two, right? That could be the ship manufacturer tag. So you have your unique identifier. It's like XY dash 44117, whatever, and then dash modifier. So, RSI would be like RI.
Right.
It's industry.
Exactly. Dude, please just
Yeah.
that I don't understand why we
It,
have serialized numbers, and there hasn't been some kind of post of like, hey, we came out with these serialized numbers now, and this is what they mean. Like if they're just spouting off random shit, it's just like, well, what does that mean? Why is that in there? Why did we make that and we didn't fucking give you armor in game? Or why didn't we like, make the HUD system all right, the HUD system better? By the way, whoever worked on the HUD system when it first came out versus like the next patch and you made it to where like party markers actually disappear when I go a certain way this way or a certain way that way. Thank you.
Yeah, we
Thank you
did a
for the
whole
love of God.
podcast on that.
Yes.
We did a whole video. Remember, we were out there testing the scope glint, and I was like looking at this gaggle fuck of all these party
Yes.
members. I'm like, there is no way I could fight anybody in this direction.
No, and
And
then there's actually the video that we just put out where you guys are running through SPK, and it's during that patch, and so you're moving, and as you're moving, getting ready to look down the steps, there's like 6 different party markers up or arrows for your party members up here. There's 3 of them because you have a 3-man squad moving up on your parallel on your right down this corridor, and then there's like 6 of them down here on the left from like our outside cordon team, and it was just like, and then
yeah,
it was showing you your ship like in the middle down here on the right. It's like, dude, I don't need all that. Let me either turn that shit off or like give me some way to turn my head to where it's not in my view anymore.
exactly, dude. You know what would be awesome as well? We're talking about reputation systems. What if there was a real life reputation system that you could work through to consult for CIG? Right? Like, look at
That'd
all
be
these
nice.
content creators, like Avenger One, like Salty Mike, anybody that's like giving ad lib on. What about all the orgs that have tons and tons of experience that don't do podcasts like us? Or like, and we're not even that consistent, right? Like, it's kind of frustrating that we're not that consistent because we're just busy. But like, if we have added any value to Zach Priest or anybody that's been in our Discord, and it would be nice to have a back and forth and know like, hey, we have somebody that could consider these things. And you don't have to take everything we say as gold. Like, we're not asking for that, but like, it would be nice to know we're being heard. We're getting some input, not just hear it from like these long-winded spectrum posts and stuff that are sometimes jaded or sometimes they like slant at other people. It's like, it's kind of like getting a little cat and mousey when all we want is the same thing. We all want the game to succeed. What if what if we could do certain rep for you, CIG? Like, it's funny, BP, I don't want to be too presumptuous, but we put out some cool content occasionally. I think we do unique things. Not to say other groups don't. I just think we do unique things. And if you watch our videos, it's apparent. And then we do an op where we have an EVA approach of a 6-man team diving in formation. And then what do we see at CitizenCon? We see a video of the same thing when they're diving out of the Prowler into the the player controlled space station. I'm like, that's interesting. I wonder where they got that angle from. And I don't want to be too presumptuous, but it's like, that's pretty cool. If they got that from us, I'd like to know that we're making an influence or not. It'd be nice to see we're heard. I think the whole community would respond better if you had 1, 2, 3, 4 conduits. Like, you have a creator that's a mining guy, right? You got creators that do salvage. You got creators that do
I'll
like
be right back.
combat, right? No problem. And we got all these other people that could add value to CIG, and we just play the game in specific ways that I don't think your development team has time for. And so the knowledge curve is like exponential. Like, look at Avenger One. If there was anybody outside of CIG that can consult on fighter pilot stuff, it would be Avenger One and his guys, right? And so they just make content. We just make content hoping that like CIG will listen. And we don't know how much do you listen? Are we heard? Do we have to go through Spectrum? Is it, what's the protocol there? What is there room for people that have been playing Star Citizen for as long as you've been developing it? Is there room for us to consult in any way to put our 2 cents in? Is there things that we could be educated on about your process that we're missing? Is, hey, we've tried that method. There's just so much issues with the code. We're going to have to come back to that later, right? That would shut us up. Right. If we get good explanations, if we're bought in or sold, if expectations are set with a few people, you could really set a lot. Like, I look at Morphologist. He's kind of specialized in ship creation and ship reviews. He's an architect himself, and he praises a lot of things, and then he has issues with a lot of things. He's great. So outside of CIG, if I want a review on a ship, I'm usually going to watch Morphologist. Right? If I'm going to go do these things, if I want like a based opinion on what's going on with Star Citizen drama and everything, I'm going to go to Salty Mike. That's just me. And there's other commentators and stuff out there that do it, but I'm just wondering, is the CIG, is there space for longtime Star Citizen players and content creators with followings? Is there space there for them to be consulting? Can they help bridge the gap of understanding between the player base and what you got going on? What you were gone, Weasel, but I was talking about like, is there things we could know and then we could disseminate to a group, right? To help them sell the game more, to put fires out. Because it does look weird. It's like we're just kind of waiting for CIG to tell us something, and then every content creator is like deciphering what CIG really means.
I think a lot of content creators would love that. A lot of people, a lot of other gaming companies have done that as well. The one that comes immediately to mind is Gray Zone Warfare.
Yeah,
They
they had a lot of
and they
streamers that
yeah,
spoke.
they do. They do, and they regularly, as people make more and more content with them, they kind of reach out and they go, "Hey, you're positive about the game. You have good, or even if you're not positive about the game, you have good constructive criticism that we can follow, and you have a good way of delivering it to a community that is a big part of our games, and you get feedback from them. Would you like to be one of our content creators?" That doesn't mean that they pay them or anything. I don't think they pay them anything. One of my buddies is actually one of theirs, but they do actively like invite them to certain like dev podcasts or whatever, so that they can get a heads up on like, hey, here's what we're thinking about in this next patch. What do you think about? And then once they give the content creators permission to put that out, they make a video on it, yada yada yada. They give them stills and stuff like that that they can't put in the videos, so that those content creators have dedicated material. And I'm sure there's going to be some people that are like, oh, gatekeeping. It's like, no, it's not gatekeeping. It's making it to where like you have community nexuses that are connecting the community through a content creator to the game developers, and you're getting active feedback on like what's going on. Gray
Yeah,
Zone, great game, has a lot of stuff, and they take their time, just like CIG, to make correct gaming mechanics. And then once they implement them, they actively listen for months after those things have been implemented and go, okay, hey, here's some hot fixes. Here's the like we can smooth out the edges or whatever. We understand that like maybe you don't like this because of X and this and this and this, but does the gameplay mechanic work?
yeah.
Okay, cool, it does work. So we'll iterate on something else in order to make this other thing. Their game is nowhere near complete, but they are actively working to make those solid bricks of like what we were talking about earlier, to make that foundation even and understandable and level.
Yeah,
Everything is level before it takes the step to that next more complex gameplay.
because if you don't have a good foundation, you can't build multiple stories.
You can't, and but and the same concept too is that they're they're building from the ground up, but they're making it to where it makes sense as that foundation gets made. They've added armor. Armor was one of the first things that they made. So like armor values, armor material, like why does
Yeah,
this one work better than this one? Durability standards. All that was added before they stepped to like, hey, here's more different types of armor. Here's different types of bullets that can penetrate that armor. Like
right. And that stuff
starting
I feel like should have.
ground.
Yes. And then Star Citizen, I think that's the biggest frustration for longtime Star Citizen players is that these values keep changing, and the flight model changes all the time. But like if the ground combat, it doesn't have to change that much, but like, we don't really have lots of exposition or like information on like the subtleties of armor. Like it's not and in an FPS sense.
No, and like
It,
why like, and the reason that makes a difference is because you need to know why the fuck you're picking that armor. If there's such a variety of armor and there's all these different manufacturers, like you have Origin and RSI and Consolidated Outland and Drake and Aegis and Anvil and all these different ship manufacturers that definitely make niche ships, and they all seem very good with the design language and the way that they function and stuff like that, and who their main customer base is. Why, like, you got to do the same thing if that's a detail that you're going to go with. Do the exact same thing with that armor. Hey man, why am I wanting a Castex Arms Karna versus the Castex Arms Galat or the Lumen? Like, what's the difference? Okay, plasma round versus laser round. what the fuck does a plasma round do versus a laser? Is there burn effects there? Do I melt armor better? Okay, like CDF um, armor versus again Morzov. Like, why do I want one or the other? One's a military supplier, one's not. Cool. What's the material that they're made out of? Is CDF like more cheap and like military funded? So it's like a military like brand, lowest contractor, lowest bid contractor, but like out there, there's a shitload of it. Or is Morzov more of like a private contractor kind of group where like they Daniel Defense or something like that, where they make like really like good quality gear, but it's pretty pricey and like it has a niche for X. I don't know,
Mhm.
something like that. Like that seems like especially the marketing department and like the way that they design things on just on a daily basis. It's like, hey
Yeah,
dude, just give us that. Like I don't need to know what the lore behind the company was or like the different variant of it. I want to know what the hell it's made out of.
totally, man. I guarantee you, if you make first person shooter experience better, if you make first person gameplay more interesting, if you think about the game as a first person experience, every aspect of the game will get better. Even players wanting to fly, players wanting to buy specific ships, right? Having the ability to log off in your ship and to live there and to stock it with stuff and to benefit from being there for a long time, having that would make me buy certain ships. Giving the ability for players to log off on the ground would make me play more. Even if I have to buy $5, $10 and buy like a little node to log off in, like so they can make their bottom line, right?
Yeah.
Fine. Like I'll whatever, but like give us the mechanics. Like I need to be able to eat in my spacesuit. Like how do I do that? How can I log off on the ground? Because like if I'm expecting to get onto Jump Town and I know a certain org is going to be there, can I log off 5 clicks out, right? And come in on the ground? Like that's what we would do in real life. You would spend 4 days getting into position, and then you would wait 3 days to strike your ambush. And so there's more ways of the game, more ways to play the game that need some attention, and like we just hope to be heard. So my question for CIG, if this is helpful to CIG or to players, like is there room for us to have a reputation system with CIG? If I can get rep with the headhunters or with Crusader, can I get some rep with CIG in real life? And can we have chats and talk about gameplay? Because I guarantee you, we play the game differently than your developers are. We play the game differently than you're intending it to be played. And that's okay because we want to play your game and we've spent thousands of dollars on supporting this game. And so let's every group, like what are miners doing to subvert problems that the mechanics offer? What are players doing to salvage more effectively? What do they wish they had? What if you're building a product, which you are for us, we need to be heard as the end users. And like can we, what if it doesn't even need to be us? Just get Avenger 1 in there to help and consult with the flight model. Why? Because he's logged more hours than most and he has more content proving that. So get him on there, right? Same thing with Salty Mike. Like, what's his experience with salvage? That's what he likes to do. These things. Get these people involved so we, the people, can be heard. That's my thing. But, group incentives is low. Lots of good things are happening right now. Really enjoying 4.0 when I'm not falling through the map. That's happened a lot lately, but we get it. We understand. At this point, if you played Star Citizen longer than a year, you know what the bugs are. You know how to play. Like we can subvert the bugs. We can be patient for people that have bugs. How many times have we been waiting in a dropship for somebody to like come back from an Alt F4 recovery?
Yeah. And it's actually possible now, which is, I
Possible.
mean, again, so CIG back end network
Mhm.
better than I've ever seen it.
Yes.
It's just continuing to give that like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is
Yeah.
why we're doing it. Like, what do you guys think?
CIG has delivered enough for us to enjoy the game to the point where we have we have become patient. Like our Star Citizen group, when we play other games, we have so much patience playing these other games because we deal with Star Citizen. It is like a joke amongst game developers, like how buggy Star Citizen is. So if you have a group of people persevering to play your game because they got a sense of what it can be, like we need some attention. That's all. because the mechanics are what's killing the game for me now. Like I'm not even bothered about a bug. Oh, 30K or server error or whatever. Oh, someone fell through a planet. Like we'll get you. Oh, you don't have any gear because the system ate all your shit. Like I moved like 30 sets of armor over to Pyro, for the game to just duplicate the what do you call it? The SCU box that I put it in. It duplicated it as something I did the other day. So like I lost 30 sets of armor and probably like 1.5 million. I'm like, whatever. Cool. That sucks. I wish those were fixed, but like, that's fine. We're so good at dealing with the bugs of development. What we're dying on, CIG, is your mechanics. If I'm gonna wait around and deal with a plethora of bugs to play the game how I like, and then your mechanics suck ass, that's what we're pissed about.
Yeah.
The mechanics are not delivering. I'll deal with the bugs, man. I'll crash the desktop 400 fucking times in one night. I'll still get on with the boys and we'll hit one bunker together or we'll do one mission or we'll go hit SPK. We'll do stuff. We're good at it. We love it. We hang out with each other all the time. We play your game all the time. And then what we're pissed off about is the mechanics. Why this over that? Why is this that? We want things to mean something. We're
Yep.
cool. We're a-okay with the bugs, boys. We know it's in development. Don't stop saying that shit on Spectrum. We're pissed off at your delivery of mechanics. Master modes, horrible choice. Is there potential there? Absolutely. Let's make it better. You're killing us. Like I want to get online with Angry Weasel, and I have way more rep than him now because you know,
Yep.
he's been at the police academy, right? Congrats, bro. Like you're busy and I got more rep than you. And now when we get on to play, I can't share a mission with you. That pisses me the fuck off.
Yep.
We don't care. We'll crash the desktop how many times? Weasel, a million? What do you want? Pick a number. We're willing.
Yeah.
But
Easily.
like if I can't get together and play with you, I'm pissed. If I'm not incentivized to play with the homies, I'm pissed. So
Yep.
that's I think that's the frustration, right? And it's like we're taking a step backwards. That's why we were so pissed off about Scope Glen. At least I was. I'm like, that's just a step backwards, dude. We have no definition about anything. And now sniping has lost some of its viability. It's arguable now. They didn't do it as bad as I thought, but like, we still don't know what the difference between an FS9 is and a fucking SMG. So like, why can't we get mechanics that are favorable or at least make sense? So let us consult. Let us come play. Like, I promise you, we're nice people. You're just hearing us bitch. Like we love your game. We make cool content. Like so does every other creator out there. Like Board Gamer. I've listed them all off. Board Gamer, Super Mac Brothers, Salty Mike, Morphologist, Space Tomato, Avenger One. Like the list goes on. There's even some other cool pirate games like the Mongrel Squad. They have awesome videos. They play the game really cool ways. And no any way to play the game is correct or wrong. It's just is. That's what's the beauty of Star Citizen. It's complete chaos out there. And like whatever CIG meant to do in the game, we're gonna subvert it and do it our way. That's just how it is, and that's how it is in real life. But I digress. Like as usual, that's this whole show is me
Yeah.
digressing. But yeah, let us in. Fuck, we got good ideas. Will they be implemented? We don't know. We don't know the back end and the code. That's your job. But like, if we can consult and we can be heard, a lot of creators would be able to calm the masses if they knew that their favorite creator was being heard and they're on the case, right? What else you
Yeah.
got? So what do you got in closing?
Closing. That's all I got, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Group incentives, FPS is good. Group gameplay just needs to be addressed and like kind of pushed for, especially with, like base building and shit like that coming online. Like that needs to be ironed out sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and another thing we didn't touch on, but I'll just say it in one sentence here is if group incentive, another part of that is making multi-crewed ships extremely powerful, like they should be.
Oh fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Those
it's
things should be
hard
like
to kill,
tanks.
hard to kill. Yeah, death machines, man, hard to kill, and they just dish the pain out. Like,
You should have, there should be a modicum, a decent amount of fear. Like if I'm in a single seater and all of a sudden a fucking multi-crew ship enters the battle, I'm like,
yeah,
like I don't want none of that.
I should be scared of it. It should be.
Especially with the way that they have Polarises and like Idrises right now, like how just holy shit. Like, yeah, I remember like same thing, safe stand and stuff, and like you're going in to fight the Idris. Dude, if I came in there in my Hornet and there's an Idris just chilling there with all of its like hammerheads and stuff like that, I'm get the fuck out of there. Like, I mean, I know there's some pilots out there that are, I'll take it. It's like you're not gonna do shit to it. Like, you're just gonna, beep, 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 beep for like 2 hours. And if you got the time for that, good for you. But like I don't. But like,
We die a lot in multi-crew ships when we shouldn't. Like
yeah, yeah.
weird bugs or exploits that people do. That's always going to be a thing, but it's a simple fix. If people are suiciding into ships in a beacon undersuit in a Pisces, like used to happen, still happens. If people are doing that shit, like just make the hulls strong.
Yep.
Like make the shields work,
This is a spaceship.
make the ship tougher.
Yep.
But that's the thing is if people are getting together to play, they should be more powerful.
Yep.
And it's kind of like that with master modes. If you get five people in pilots, fighters, like five gladiuses versus one is always going to win now in master modes. But if it was like a 1-to-1 match perfectly, it's improved some of that. But if in a game where I was going to say this earlier, in a game where death of a spaceman is going to be a thing, I just will never play this game alone, which means I won't play hardly at all until the boys are on.
I think that's a big thing to maybe like bring this to a close and hit on next time too. Is it's like you're making a multiplayer game, so obviously you want people to play together and with each other, or with against each other and stuff like that. You need to make it to where like that feels worthwhile.
Yeah.
Instead of like, dude, it took me, I gotta send messages to the boys. I gotta do this all week as I'm working, they're working and everything. We finally get coordinated Saturday night or, Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon, whatever. And we get on and it's like, well, shit, that ship that we just got and we got moving, say, Connie or whatever, or a Gladius or whatever the fuck we go into. And then like we get taken out by, an interceptor, a single one, when we got like 8 turrets going. It's like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
Like, this is fucking ridiculous.
Avenger One's guys they'll do that.
Yeah.
They'll with the right loadout and the right ship and the right pilot, they'll destroy it. So if Death of a Spaceman is a thing, because I think it was Yogi and some other guys, they said, "Oh, we want to make it, slow down the combat so it's more of like a dogfight," and like that's cool. But they're like one of the things they said is like it was people were getting away too easy. It wasn't consequential enough. And I was like, that's actually good. If Death of a Spaceman is a thing, I should have every option I can muster to get away. If I come into an area and I sense, I commit to an area and then all of a sudden I get swarmed, like I should be able to escape. If
I
I'm,
think
but that's not the case anymore with master modes. You'll just
I,
get,
I think one of the biggest things, and like maybe something factual that we can relate that to as well, is like Mongrel Squad. They're extremely good at group gameplay. Most of the pirate orgs are, and they're very good at taking a couple like rinky dink fighters, like an Avenger Warlock and stuff like that, and making them extremely detrimental to larger ships because the smaller ships shouldn't be alone and be detrimental to a big C2 or something like that, or a Caterpillar. It should take a coordinated effort in order to lock that ship down, make it to where it can't go, hit 1 to 2 people, hit it with distortions, power it down, and take that ship. Dude, that is amazing gameplay. That's super fucking awesome. It's great that we have a game that is capable of doing that, but master modes in this current state and the current state of like group dynamics and the way that this weapon system works, this patch, and this weapon system doesn't work. We don't know what the armor value is of this ship, and this one is a huge ship, but it cracks like a glass vase the second somebody shoots it with anything. All that shit needs to be ironed out and needs to be just out the window. You need to make it to where like if you're looking at a group of players and they're playing like Mongrel Squad or someone like them, if they're doing it correctly, if they're coordinating, they've got the right ships with the right loadouts, and they are taking down a bigger target. That's what a massive multiplayer game is supposed to be. Do not make it to where a fucking Misk Fury can take out a Hammerhead. That doesn't make sense.
that you can go into Arena Commander right now and do that. And it's an NPC hammerhead, of course, but just go watch an Avengers 1 video and talk about the ranges of stuff, and you can stay out of range. It's like the Fury is fast enough that if an NPC ship is shooting at you, I think it's like 600 meters, 700. It might have changed a little bit. But yeah, I just kept it like about a click off because the ranges of our weapons are so much more improved and they're so much faster. I can get shots on the tail end of a hammerhead. I took down a Fury like a couple weeks ago. Um,
Hammerhead.
I'm sorry, a hammerhead with a Fury. I took down a
Yeah.
hammerhead with a Fury just recently. Like it was this patch and this AC. So yeah, that's a problem, right? I shouldn't be able to do that. Multiple Furies in a coordinated effort should be able to do that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. They're little hornets, dude. Absolutely. And that should be a thing. But it's
It's
also taken into account you gotta have a lot of talented pilots and you gotta have the ability to coordinate and know where people are flying and what vectors and yada yada yada. It's a lot to take in and still do correctly versus I'm Joe Blow and I know how to fly. So you give me anything, I'll take out any ship you give me. Like that
exactly.
that's not fun, dude. Like
And then it just if you're outnumbered in a single seater fighter or in a ship that you like a Zeus, right? You got cargo, you're by yourself. Like just being in Pyro, being in Stanton, like anywhere, you at any moment could just get ambushed and that you don't have any options to run.
yeah, give me quantum boost so that if nothing else, I can get a quick boom out.
Yeah.
Cool. If you're talented enough and you know the maps, you know the systems, you know the routes, you can follow me. Great, dude. That means you put in a little bit more gameplay. You're more prepared. You know how to do that. But make it to where like that player can get the hell away because like otherwise all the time, all the like anything that they're willing to do, and again, your game takes time. You guys have made the game take time. Elevators, trains, cargo elevators, cargo refractor, moving shit with multi tools, doing this, that, and the other. It's a lot of time. So
It is.
make that fucking worth it, or make it to where I can save that time, and maybe I gotta log off for the night and come back another day with that cargo. But like,
Yeah.
make that a thing, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Give us options, man. Like, let me escape. If Death of a Spaceman is going to be a thing, like the single player needs to be able to escape. Otherwise, orgs are just going to dominate.
Yeah.
So anyway, but that's it for today, guys. We went long, dude. We haven't chatted for a minute, bro. That was like
The yeah.
hour 40 or something. But yeah, we love you guys. We love Star Citizen. We love CIG. We just we play a lot, so we get kind of frustrated sometimes. Yeah, we get frustrated, but we still love it. We're supporting of the game. We're gonna keep playing it. We're gonna keep doing branded privateer stuff and keep videos coming up. And we're back, baby. That's
Yeah.
it. Love it. That's it for us. Weasel, thanks for your time today, and
Anytime.
we'll
Anytime, brother.
see you guys on the ground.
Later.
Peace.